tapped. Sort of. Welcome to Silo Voice Wrestling on YouTube and the Silo Voice Wrestling podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Jason C. McLean, and these are my assorted thoughts on the January 12th, 2026 WWE Raw, live from Düsseldorf, Germany. And I watched it almost live. It's right now January the 12th, the same day. It's around 6 o'clock. And even though I'm recording this right after, I'll be completely honest, you're probably only going to see this like on Tuesday or maybe even Wednesday, because I still have to edit the assorted thoughts on Friday's SmackDown, which I recorded just before watching the Raw. Anyways, I like these European shows. I like being able to watch wrestling at different times. So yeah, main event, Gunther versus AJ Styles. The crowd, I mean, they liked AJ, but they were definitely not massively booing Gunther. I mean, it's, Düsseldorf, Germany. He grew up, he was from Vienna, Austria. He spent a lot of his time in Germany, Europe sort of thing. I guess you could expect that. But I think they're getting back to him being a massive heel. And the match itself was of course really fun to watch. I mean, both these guys can go. The story was AJ was going to try and get Gunther to tap out like a little B. I mean, that's what the announcers say, but the wrestlers say bitch, and the t-shirt says B. I don't know if that's actually a swear or not. Let's see what YouTube thinks about this. And yeah, AJ tried to tap him out a few times, and then AJ just gets up and saying Gunther tap, but we don't see it. Nobody sees it. Not even, not the referee, but not the announcers, not us, not the cameras. And then when the refs talking to Alicia Taylor, Gunther gives him a low blow. Power bomb, stacks him up 1, 2, 3. But then we see the reverse angle, and Gunther actually did tap, but on the other side. So I'm thinking like, okay, why didn't AJ just like, wait until the referee sees it? No, because he probably felt the tap. Yeah, he definitely felt the tap because he tapped out on AJ. He's like, okay, that's it, I've won. He gets up and there's no bell. And he's like, what? So that was actually very well played by Gunther. Tap out so the referee and nobody sees it except for the other angle, but AJ will feel it and act like that's actually brilliant strategy from Gunther. I mean, okay, the low blow was Gunther's doing a bit more cheating stuff. He's always the heel who's just sort of a jackass and he doesn't cheat, but he's a jackass. That's why he's a heel. But now he's actually throwing a bit of cheating in. They're pushing Gunther to be a mega heel. Obviously, there's going to be a rematch, maybe even at the show I'm at. But you know what? If this Gunther AJ program, I think this can really cook. It kind of makes sense. Gunther's not going to have a championship for a while. They give all the stats about how many times he's won, but they're not giving the stats about how long he's been a champion when in WWE, because that number is going down. But I don't think at this point Gunther needs to be like a long reigning champion to be a top heel. I think eventually he's going to be a top heel with a top champion, maybe starting next year's WrestleMania. I don't know, but how they're booking Gunther, even with the fan support in Germany, he's still going to keep his heel heat, especially when he gets back to North America or other places. And this was a solid main event, and this was really well done, and they continue to build this feud and also Gunther's heel character. Good job. Now, that's, of course, what I started with in this video, because that's the main event. That's the focus of the show. But the thing that I focused on mainly is, well, it's how the show started, but mainly a match sort of in the middle. Because, yeah, we started with Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, all the different challengers. And I was like, hopefully there'll be a match at my show. I'm going to Saturday night's main event in Montreal. When it was announced there would be a number one contenders match, I was like hoping it's my show. And then they announced at the beginning of the match, the winners of this triple threat are going to face Rhea and Io for the titles at Saturday night's main event, which I'm going to. So I'm really excited for this match. I mean, I figured it was going to be Judgment Day, Liv Morgan and Roxanne Perez who won, but I was really hoping it was them who won, because they're the ones I want to see face Rio in Montreal. Now, obviously, when they I was cheering for them in this match from home, but at the show, I'm obviously going to be cheering for Rio. But I think this, even though Liv and Rhea have done so much back and forth, never like not that much in a tag situation, and it makes perfect sense that they would win. Now, obviously, in Düsseldorf, where Raw was, the crowd favorites were Bayley and Lyra Valkyria, because Bayley's really over in Europe. But them as a babyface team against Rio, they obviously would be the ones not getting the fan support, so it's kind of good they're not in that position. Kabuki Warriors are also heels, but you know what? They just won it from them. The last thing you want, because if it's them against Kabuki Warriors, you know they're not going to just lose it back. I think Rio are going to retain, but you know what? Liv and I keep saying Raquel, Liv and Roxanne, they have a chance, and I think that's going to be a really good match. And I was excited to see the finish, and I'm happy that they won because I'm really excited for that match at Saturday night's main event. Big night for the Judgment Day overall. Finn Balor challenged CM Punk. Now, I knew they weren't going to do it that night because no way a heel is going to agree with that. And I'm thinking maybe, are they going to do this one at my show too? But no, it makes sense. They're going to do it at in Finn's hometown. Well, not hometown, home country in Belfast, Ireland, next week on Raw. I mean, could they do a double thing with a European beating like a champion no one thinks is going to lose in Europe, just like they had Drew beat Cody? I don't think so. I mean, they might do it, but if they do that, then they're completely rewriting the script for WrestleMania. They've already put a huge wrench into the whole thing. I mean, I thought Punk was going to lose to Breakker. I don't think he's going to lose to Balor right away, but this is definitely bringing Finn Balor to another level. It was a good promo, good exchange, good setup for the match. Looking forward to that match next week. And they had Raquel Rodriguez being interviewed by Michael Cole, and then Stephanie Vaquer came out still with the boot. Raquel knocked her down again, continued with the injury. I'm wondering if I'm trying to figure out, are they pushing? They're doing that to push that match off, but keep Stephanie the champion, or at some point they're going to have to be like, okay, let's set a match in like 2 weeks or something, maybe SNME, who knows? But Stephanie's going to be ready for it, and no attacks before that because you don't want her to walk into the match injured, then she can't compete. Then, anyways, but it was. I mean, I'm not entirely sure with where they're going, but you know what? Also, I was wondering why they took Liv out of the singles promotion, the singles feud with Stephanie, and they put Raquel in there, and they put Liv in the tag team situation. But it just occurred to me, with the women's, especially on Raw, but almost overall, the biggest stars, the most star power, the most interesting women's bracket or scene in WWE is the women's tag team scene. So, of course, you're going to put Liv Morgan, who's one of the top stars, best performers, into the tag team division. This makes so much more. It now makes so much sense as to why she's now with Roxanne and Raquel is going after Stephanie. I don't think Raquel is going to beat Stephanie. I think Stephanie's going to retain, find another opponent for maybe at Mania. But it makes a lot more sense that Liv is actually in the tag team scene. And again, like I said it before, I'll say it again. I'm really looking forward to watching that match live. Is it just me, or are they actually setting up for a match between Bron Breakker and Adam Pearce? Now, I don't think it'll come to that, but I mean, it was an interesting setup. Breakker wasn't there at first. We had the match Bronson Reed and Austin Theory versus Penta and Dragon Lee, and Breakker causes the DQ with the spear. I loved how they did this. Like, Pearce is arguing with Breakker while back in the ring, the backdrop is Logan and Austin Theory setting up. I think that wasn't Penta. It was Dragon. I think one of them for a tsunami from Bronson Reed. They hear the crash. Pearce turns around. There's the spear. But it's very interesting that they set up that Paul Heyman remarked after that Pearce was the one who put his hands on Breakker first. So there might be some sort of, I don't know, fighting the heel stable, fighting the babyface management. Pearce used to be a wrestler. I don't think if he returns to the ring, it's going to be against. It might be against. I think if he returns to the ring, it might be against like Nick Aldis or something. I can't see them doing Pearce returning to the ring to fight Bron freaking Breakker. Also, Breakker running in. They showed him running down the aisle. The shot after, like a replay. That was a long aisle, and he did that quickly. Like, wow. I'd like to see Breakker live, just to see him do a run-in live, just to see like how fast he can really go. But I'm interested to see what they're doing with the Vision right now, because obviously Punk is sort of, at least for the moment, in a different program. But they're gonna keep pushing the Vision. They're gonna keep pushing Breakker. I'm interested to see where they're going with this, and I think the whole angle with Pearce is kind of an interesting choice. Also, they're running back Becky Lynch and Maxine Dupree for the Women's Intercontinental Championship next week in Belfast. The last time they were in Dublin, Becky didn't really endear herself to the hometown crowd. I mean, I guess they cheered at first, but then she purposely made them boo her. It'd be interesting to see if Becky can get booed in this title defense in Belfast. And also, I'm wondering if AJ Lee is going to show up. Because I'm pretty sure they're going with, I think Becky is going to retain. Okay. Maxine's great. I think she'll be back, but I think maybe Becky's going to win by cheating. Of course, she's outright said, I didn't cheat, where there's like an image of her cheating in that promo. So that's hilarious. But it'd be interesting to see if this is where they bring back AJ Lee, and then who knows, maybe Becky versus AJ at SNME, which I'm at. Boy, can wish. Also, speaking of Maxine, she encouraged the other Alpha Academy members, the Babes, which she's calling them now, Otis and Tozawa, to start taking things more seriously and go for their goals. And Otis talked to Jey Uso, and Jey Uso was a little bit. First, he was dismissive, but he's like, "Okay, you really want a shot? Fine, I'll give you a shot." Also, Jey Uso actually cut a promo with the crowd, but you wouldn't see it if you were in the States or if you're anywhere else where the commercials are cut out, because he cut the promo to the crowd from the same way same place him and Jimmy were last time during the commercial break. It's funny. Jey Uso is, maybe they just wanted to bring him out for the crowd. They wanted him on the show, but backstage, but they wanted to bring him out for that crowd. That explains why they did it. We also had Javon Evans' first official match as a member of the Raw roster against Bravo Americano. And we had a subsequent interview during the commercials with Byron Saxton. Good match. I'm looking more forward to seeing Javon maybe challenge El Grande Americano, but of course they have to wait till they're out of Germany because the crowd just kept calling him Kaiser. And these were my assorted thoughts on the January 12th, 2026 WWE Raw from Düsseldorf, Germany. I enjoyed this show. It set up some really good stuff for the show that I'm going to see. It was obviously shorter than SmackDown, but this and the SmackDown before were two very interesting European shows. Do you agree with my assorted thoughts? Let me know in the comments. Follow at Silo Voice Wrestling on Facebook and Instagram, at Silo Wrestling on X, and me at Jason C. McLean on X and Instagram, and jasoncmclean.bsky.social on Bluesky. Also, make sure you like, share, subscribe, ring that bell for notifications to get all my wrestling hot takes, cold takes, simmering takes, WWE premium live event prediction and review videos, wrestling opinion pieces, and assorted thoughts on SmackDown and Raw. I will be back with my assorted thoughts on the next SmackDown from England. Until then, for Silo Voice Studios in Montreal, I'm Jason C. McLean.